Welcome to A Magical Life, Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, lead practitioner at Holistic Natural Health Australia and #1 best-selling author. In this podcast, I aim to give you practical tips on how to accelerate and sustain your health, increase your financial, spiritual and emotional wealth, and to look at something that haunts many of us needlessly, weight loss. Now, sit back and enjoy, because it is time for you to create and truly discover a magical life. Welcome back to A Magical Life. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, and today Dr. Emeka Aludogbu joins us. He is a sports medicine doctor and entrepreneur. He's been in the sports space for over 10 years, taking care of some of the most elite athletes in the NFL, NBA, Olympics, and MLB. He's now in the environmental space with a mission to help clean and save this planet. Welcome, Dr. Emeka.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you this afternoon?
Great, and thanks for joining us. And I'm really excited about this interview. Just off air, we were chatting about your entrepreneur experience, and we'll get into that in a minute. But first, let me ask you my standard 3 questions. Everyone gives different answers, and I know yours are going to be amazing. So here's your first one. What can your expertise do to accelerate health? Not just physical, but also emotional and spiritual health.
Oh, wow. Well, my expertise started out in musculoskeletal approach to helping professional athletes. And when I say professional athletes, it's not just geared towards professional athletes, but that's the primary field that I'm in, the arena that I'm in because of my own background. But I think everyone is an athlete within their own space. Construction workers, real estate agents, librarians, all across the board are individual athletes within their own specialty. I think with the approach in the musculoskeletal and the nervous system and understanding how someone may come to you with a certain ailment, I don't care if it's an elite athlete or it's a day-to-day normal working person, or if it's a recreational athlete, the evaluation, the assessment, the approach is all the same. We find the root cause of the problem and then just tailor it to that specific person's day-to-day lifestyle and what their essential goal is. And it could be just somebody that wants to walk 30 minutes a day. It could be somebody that wants to run a 9.9 flat in 100. Whatever that is, whatever that goal is, and whatever that person is, my best approach and my approach has always been finding the way to best address that person's needs and their ailments and not create a cookie cutter approach per se.
I love that. And in my practice, we treat root cause as well. So when you said that, I was doing this little party in my seat. I really love that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, for so long, Western medicine has even failed me as a professional and as a healthcare professional. I was once a victim of failed intervention because of misdiagnosis or mismanagement. And I think that what the Western medicine has really done a really good job of is catering to us when there is trauma or emergency medicine. I think that the U.S. has by far the best availability and the best practices in that arena. But when it comes to chronic ailments or management of, pathologies, I think that's where we've really dropped the ball and lost the real approach to medicine. And with the way that I was mismanaged, I told myself, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. And that was where I learned that the importance of diagnosis is important, but taking the time to really understand what the root cause, because to me, diagnosis is just a blanket name that we've been given to identify a certain ailment, but there could be something else that could have caused that specific ailment or that specific diagnosis. So I think with my experience in that area, I vowed to never allow anyone to go through that.
Wonderful. Okay, our next question is around wealth. People see wealth as your bank account, your finances, but it's also personal and emotional wealth, and they can all be tied in together. So, what are your top 3 tips to creating wealth?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Wealth to me is how you feel and what your mental state is. And I think the abundance of wealth comes from the state of how the mind and where the mind is. For instance, I think that one can say manifestation and, speak things into existence, but the true state of wealth is that having that state of mind on a day-to-day basis to creating that, bringing that what you are wanting to fruition, right? And I think that having abundance in wealth is having the day-to-day practice and keeping that mental clarity, allowing no negativity and understanding that anything that happens to you is happening for you. That to me is wealth in abundance. But wealth is also understanding that your network is your net worth, curating relationships and maintaining relationships. I think to me, in my experience and in my profession has been one of the wealthiest attributes that I have acquired is having a solid network of individuals that I lean upon, because from educational standpoint, I have different scholars and different academic individuals that I can go to for information. From a technology standpoint, I have a school of individuals that I can go for IT issues or understanding the network of algorithms and artificial intelligence and things that's going on from a content standpoint. And from a real estate standpoint, I have a group of individuals. So I think for me, wealth is your community. And when you have a community of individuals that have different facets that are in different areas and have different facets of material tools or anything like that, I think it gives you as an individual more opportunity to attain whatever it is that you're looking for. And to me, that's wealthy, right? That's you have a wealthy network, you have a wealthy mindset, therefore you are a wealthy individual.
Okay, our final standard question is around weight. Now, many people struggle with their weight, and they might kind of look at someone and go, well, you've never had an issue. What would you know? Alternatively, they may just be very stressed and, just really struggling with that cortisol belly. Have you ever struggled with your weight? If so, how did you win the war? And what can you offer the listeners who might be entrenched in this at the moment?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all suffered from somewhat of what we want our ideal body to be, and I've suffered from it. And even the time when the world was at disarray, that was one of the most challenging times, because I am a person that works out every day. I believe in motion. I believe in movement. I believe in making sure that the body is where the body needs to be. But even then, acquiring certain unwanted weight in certain areas of your body makes it a little bit more challenging. So I think that first understanding what it is that your body is able to actually digest and absorb, and that's through testing, right? Because a lot of the things that we're having and putting in our bodies today is not like it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. Our diet and our food system is not geared toward helping us as it used to be. It's actually geared towards the latter. And I don't want to say poisoning us or killing us, but for the most part, in different areas of the world, I think that what we're eating is actually killing us. So when it comes to stress and stress weight, I think understanding exactly what your body can and cannot absorb from a nutritional dietary standpoint. I don't think that everybody has to adhere to some sort of diet, because that diet that you're adhering to can be very, very not for you. And if you don't understand what your body's absorbing and how your body's metabolizing certain things that you're eating, you could be eating something that's naturally, I guess, healthy, but your body isn't able to absorb it, nor is it able to metabolize it. Therefore, you're kind of running up an uphill battle, because you're thinking, oh, I'm eating the right things, I'm eating healthy, but you never knew that your body's ability to actually utilize those nutrients, quote unquote, is not actually doing it a service. So I think I think for me, when I had that issue, I think I was more so focused on what I needed, what my body liked, and what my body tolerated. My stress levels was also a big area that I focused on as well too, because I knew that cortisol was a big contributing factor to my unwanted weight, belly weight, if you will. So when I finally got a hold of that and understood that, and, staying diligent and staying disciplined in my workouts and everything else. And I started to see the weight fall off. And I think another thing is just being patient, right? Being diligent, being consistent, and being patient with yourself also is a big contribution to losing weight. And most of us have an issue doing that because we want that quick fix. But I'm here to tell you it's not, especially the journey to losing weight. That is a journey in itself.
Wonderful. Now, we've covered a fair bit here, and I know that you're a marvel in the sports medicine arena, but we were talking offline about what you're doing in the world of bioplastics and saving the environment. And as a self-professed hippie, I'm really quite excited about this. So tell us about Terramer Tech.
So Terramer Inc. is a bioplastic technology company that we focus on. We are a resin company. Our resin is primarily derived from hemp. That's the plant of choice that we've chosen and that we use. And so our resin we have the technology that we program all of the plastics that we make to be able to decompose and biodegrade in a certain lifetime, 180 days. When it's thrown in a landfill or in an industry compost facility, you can guarantee that in 180 days, our plastics turns into compost. And those compost is actually very nutrient dense that can actually repopulate the soil to allowing the soil to become more enriched and have more nutrients in it to allow the soil to be used to plant anything, right? So the big battle that we have today, if you've seen what global warming is happening and a lot of the plastic industry is happening, petroleum plastic has been one of the biggest cause of our oceans to be in a position to essentially be destroyed. I think it was 2 years ago, there was the statistics that came out mentioning about the microplastics in the ocean, that by 2050, that there'll be more microplastics in the ocean than fish. As of a year ago, the statistics came back out and recalibrated that it would be by 2045, there'll be more microplastics in the ocean than fish. And what that's doing, you can see from a hormonal position, is displacing the hormones in fish, which we eat the fish, we eat the krill, we eat the sushis, we eat the shrimps, and so on and so forth. And that's contaminating us, right? And now they're also finding microplastics in seaweed, in kelp, in certain plant matter that is being fished out, that's also growing, certain plant matter that's grown in the ocean. So there's a big problem with petroleum-based plastics because the amount of time that it takes one single petroleum-based plastic water bottle, it takes about 350 to 400 years for it to disintegrate and leave the earth. That's a long time. And what we're dealing with right now is oceans that have plastics that are just floating in oceans in certain areas the size of Texas. And they call that a dead zone because fish cannot go there any longer. So there's a big problem with our world right now. There's a big problem with our planet. And Terramer Inc.'s goal here is to minimize that, or at least contribute to the way that we can actually control some of the plastics that are being made in today. And, also to kind of touch more on that, there's a carbon credit. A lot of these companies are also utilizing the advantages of carbon because of what hemp is, a carbon negative plant, which then provides more of a carbon neutral footprint on the planet. So there's a big war here, and I'm in it for the long run. And I think that we are doing something that's going to be groundbreaking. Our straws, our cutleries, our grocery bags, our produce bags, our doggy bags will be rolling out within this year and next year. We already have our straws in different stores. We already have our grocery bags are coming out in stores now. We'll have doggy bags and produce bag before the year is over, and our cutleries as well too. So we're making some strides here, and the goal is to do our part so we can leave the planet, in a better way that we found it when we got here,
Now, the listeners might be wondering why we're talking about this. Listeners, Dr. Emeka just mentioned about the effect of microplastics on fish and their hormones. But what you may not be aware of is every time you drink from a plastic water bottle, you are actually taking in your own version of endocrine disruptors. And so this is why we're seeing a lot of young males with moobs, man boobs forming, because their endocrine system has been disrupted. We're seeing a lot more disruption in females' menstrual cycles, in women having really horrible menopause with terrible hot flashes and night sweats. And this is because plastics are having such an effect on our lives. And I was mentioning off air earlier, in Australia, we've done, great leaps forward in abolishing the good old plastic straw, but we've replaced it with paper. And if you let that sit in your iced coffee for more than a couple of minutes, you've got paper sludge in your coffee. So hemp is one of the strongest building materials. It's, as Dr. Emeka said, it's carbon negative. So it's not even carbon neutral, it's carbon negative. It has a very low footprint on the earth, but it also releases nutrients as it's growing back into the soil and as it's breaking down. So it's used in building products, it's used in clothing. Long ago, it was just seen as something that the fringe were using, but it's certainly something that we all need to turn to and make the most of. Dr. Emeka, what are some other ways that using hemp can help people? So you work in the mainstream forum with athletes. Are you seeing that hemp can be, a healthy step forward for them to use as well?
Yeah, it's a variety of usage from a medicinal standpoint. As you know, the CBD era was one of the most impactful, I would say, ways that it was shown to help with insomnia. It was shown to help with certain tonic-clonic seizures. It was used to help with muscle soreness, recovery, just mood. So from a medicinal standpoint, we've seen hemp in the CBD era that was really effective for assisting with certain issues and conditions that most people were battling. And, back in the 60s and the 70s, hemp was also the primary plant before the cotton family and also the oil family came and boycotted hemp, and they bound together to create hemp, or to rather than label hemp as dope, right? Because they wanted to control the industry, they wanted to control the market, they wanted to control what they wanted to control, and by proxy, hemp became named as a dope product, not to be used, and it was criminalized. But hemp was used to make clothes. Hemp was used to sew wool. Hemp was used as rope. Hemp was also stronger. It is also stronger than steel. So from with the question you're asking, there are a multitude of different facets that hemp has been used in the industry to, push along the industry, to make the industry much more sustainable. But because of different ball players in the industry and what their assignment and goal was to kill the plant, and I call it hemp the mother plant. So with that being said, everything always comes back full circle. If you want to suppress truth, there's only a little bit of time before truth will surface. And I think that's what we're starting to see now, is that truth is resurfacing again. And people are asking, well, why hasn't hemp been used all this time? And it's just a matter of time before those questions are answered.
Wonderful. Now, we've covered a lot here. What is something we haven't discussed that you feel the listeners need to hear?
Well, there's a multitude of things, and we can go in depth on any category. My passion has always been in technology. My passion has always been in medicine, and my passion has always been helping people. And I think that in those areas, in health, in technology, and giving people the best ability to be their best versions, I think those are the areas that I've really tried to focus on. Technology, if the listeners are not keen to technology, I think that is also an area that we might need to start paying attention. I think, with the way and the speed of how technology is ramping up, what we're seeing is there are certain jobs and certain things that are in jeopardy of that social interaction that most of these companies are going to want technology to replace. And I think that's an area that most people are not truly aware the significance and the power of what technology, especially artificial intelligence, has the ability to do and how it can change the trajectory of it and how it's going to change a lot of different such scenarios.
Wonderful. Okay, so Dr. Emeka, people can find you on LinkedIn. You're also on Instagram at Dr. Emeka_sports. Where else can people find you?
Innovate Sports Med, obviously, that's everything sports related in terms of injuries and assistance. My clinic is still in Dallas, and then at Terramer, for our Terramer day-to-day news and blogs, our IG is Terramer_tech, and that's our IG handle. All day-to-day information, all things bioplastics can be found on there as well.
And listeners, normally we offer you a freebie, but I'm just going to urge you to jump on and have a look at what these hemp products can do and really educate yourself on something that we should have been using this whole time. Thank you so much, Dr. Emeka, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Magic. I appreciate your time.
Pleasure. And listeners, thank you for your time. Go forth and create your magical life. Thanks for listening today. Please subscribe to hear future episodes, leave a review, and share this podcast. Drop us a line at A Magical Life Podcast on Facebook and let me know what you would like to know more about. You can find us on Instagram at Holistic Natural Health, that's holistic with a W, or at www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. That's where you'll access all sorts of articles, freebies, and more.